Disclaimer. The following program features language not suitable for all audiences, and the expressed opinions found within this program are a reflection of those who feature on the PopCulture Effect podcast. Welcome to the PopCulture Effect. I'm Rockin Rob, and on this show I bring my closest friends together to talk about all of the news happening in our pop culture world around us. Welcome to the extended version of the introduction. We're here with not everybody because timing conflicts and Super Bowl made everything so wonderful to plan.
Some people are stinkly winklies.
Yes, definitely some people are stinkly winklies, but those who are not stinkly winklies this week are my good friend Menace.
Excuse
That's funny. I was literally in my head.
Okay,
literally in my head. No.
I know we're a Tyler hive mind, but god damn it, Robbie.
No, that's fair. I had Tyler in my brain. That's what messed me up.
I mean, you're not
here.
wrong, but you
I'm
are.
not wrong, but I'm also incredibly wrong. Anyways, I'm here with Blaze.
Ew.
And I guess we got Subset here in spirit as well.
I gotta represent for him.
No, fair enough. And we got Gemini.
Hello.
And it's time for us to just jump right into it because I want to get this news out of the way because there's a bunch of addendums that I haven't been able to talk about since I returned from the land beyond my little cubicle.
All right, lightning round, Robbie. Go for it.
All right, fine. First
A
off,
dum time.
a dum time. There's the stuff I want to talk about the If movie that I've been discussing, made by John Krasinski, starring Ryan Reynolds. It's going to be a live-action / CGI movie, a la Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Chip 'n Dale Rescue Ranger. And just recently, for a promotional video, they did a Office impersonator Jim joke where it was like if you know, you know, but it was a good little ad for it, referencing when Jim pranked Dwight by having another guy impersonate him. But anyways,
In the Office.
in the Office. And the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is the fact that, like I said, there's some stories that we won't be able to get to. I'm assuming the Grammys are probably going to wait until the future if we ever do cover them. Avatar: The Last Airbender and Palworld, they're going to be stuff coming in the future, but I want to make sure we get the broader strokes of everybody's opinions on them, so I will kind of wait until the time is right. But to jump right into it, I think it is appropriate, Gemini, I know you've been waiting a little bit to talk about this. This actually took precedent over your other story that you wanted to let sit for a bit, but why don't you give us a rundown of Persona 3 Reload?
So, if you are unfamiliar with the Persona series, which on one hand, I understand it, until 5, it kind of was a more I don't want to say underground, but it wasn't the like a very popular Japanese.
It was a hidden gem franchise.
Yeah, it was a hidden gem franchise released by, is it Altus, I believe? Atlas. Altus is an Elden Ring. Anyway, by Atlas, published by Sega. And the first game was released way back in I think 2009. So it was an older game on the PS2. And
even older than that, because the first Persona, or are you talking about are you just talking about
just
the original version of 3? Yeah,
that was like
2000s.
Yeah, so it was an older PS2 game, and and then when 4 released, that one was pretty good, but the big kickoff of the series was 5, which I haven't played, but that's besides the point. But just earlier, or in the beginning of the month, February 2nd, they had finally released the remake of Persona 3 called Persona 3 Reload, and I decided to play it because Persona 3 was the one that I started with. I've never beat it because it's a long ass game, because that is just the crutch of JRPGs. They're very long games, but it is available for purchase now as of February 2nd. But if you do not wish to purchase it, either because you are unsure if you're not going to like it or anything, if you do have access to Game Pass, either through your Xbox or through your PC, it is available for free download off of the Game Pass, which is really nice. It was a day one launch. It was a day one launch title, which is really, I love that they did that. But anyway, moving on to the game. So I honestly have really enjoyed it. Like I said, I played the original one, and it was decent. It obviously was, look wise, it was very dated in a sense where the graphics were a little yikes and everything. And when I played it on my more modern screen, it was very obvious how dated the graphics kind of were, which is fine, But this remaster is really good. They did change a lot. I think a lot of it is meant to be kind of similar to how Persona 5 did some things. Sorry, I was eating something.
It definitely gave me heavy
floating in there.
It definitely gave me heavy Persona 5 vibes from the trailers of this version of it.
And I think that's what they did say, is that they wanted to take aspects from the newer games and re-implement them versus just like, taking every single mechanic from the old game, which, like I said, I didn't play the newer one, so I don't know which mechanics are like from Persona 5, which ones are new, but I can definitely tell that they did change a lot of the old mechanics. So one thing that I really like that they've done with the new one in comparison to the old one is when you were in combat, I remember it was kind of annoying where the only person you could control during the turn-based combat was the player character, the blue-haired kid, which is canon name if I recall. I think, what did I name? I think, because he has two names, like two canon names. There's his anime version and then there's his like game manga version, and I don't remember. I think it was Minato. No, I don't know. We'll just call him Minato. I think that's his anime name, but I can't remember the name that I asked, that his canon manga name. But
what did you end up naming him?
Whichever canon one that isn't the anime one. Because I'm a weirdo like that, and I like sticking to the canon rather than giving him the name of like Johnny Smith or something.
Which is fair, especially since it's a pre-made character that has their own lore.
Yeah, like he has his own design, his own backstory, his own lore, so that's why I decided to look up his actual canon name. If he was a character you could just like create from the start and everything, then I'd give him some random ass like name, but he's not.
It's like whenever you play any Legend of Zelda games, they always give you the option to change his name, but we all know it's Link.
Yeah, like why the would you, like, if you didn't know it, I get that, but like if you know, just name him Link, you weirdo. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So with the turn-based combat in the original game, you could only control the character, and then anyone else who's in your party, you could only control the character that you played as. The rest of your party, like, they were going off of whichever like combat AI that you had assigned to them.
Okay.
And in the beginning, it kind of was a little frustrating because you unlocked new combat styles as the game progressed, that you could all in, play more defensively. If they had more support-based abilities, you could assign them to just healing and supporting only. So it got better as the game progressed, obviously, as you unlocked more team skills. But in the beginning, it was just everyone do default. And it get kind of frustrating because I remember, because the enemies you fight have weaknesses, because the persona, in a sense, they kind of work in a similar sense of Pokemon, where they have their own like class and abilities. Yeah, strengths and weaknesses. And so like an example would be you're going against an enemy that's weak to ice, and you use ice, and then you end your turn, and then someone's just like, they're weak to ice, you use fire. No, you use ice. I'm confusing myself. They're weak to ice because they're strong against fire, and your dumbass companion just like fireball, and it's just like, you just negated every bit of damage I did. Thank you for that.
Yep. Yeah, I was just say 5 definitely had it to where you could control all of them separately.
That is a mechanic then that they brought from 5, where you can control what they do. And another interesting thing is, again, I don't know if this is 5 or a new thing entirely, but when you would strike their weakness and everything, you had the opportunity then to give, because you would get an extra attack, you had the opportunity to essentially give that extra attack to one of your teammates. So I thought that was really good.
It's been a bit since I've played 5, so I don't remember if that was a thing you could do or not.
I really like that, because if you were going against a bunch of shadows where one was weak to wind, one was weak to fire, and one was weak to ice, your character can change his persona, but you can only change it once per turn. So say you change it to the one that does wind damage, and then you're like, well, shit, I can't do fire, ice, but my other two can. So you can kind of essentially like pass the mic to them, and I really liked that.
Yeah.
The graphics are very nice. They're very crisp, very clean. They have that modern Atlas look to it. Like, you can tell it's an Atlas game because they kept with their normal style, and it is beautiful. I am a little sad that they did reduce the amount of anime cutscenes. However, because the fact that the graphics are heavily improved, the in-game cutscenes do look better now. In the past, they were a little janky because of just the fact that was the engine that the game was running on at the time, and the hardware that it had to run on for the consoles. It was a little jank, so that's probably why a lot of their like big story cutscenes were mostly just like anime cutscenes.
Saves a lot on time, because that 3D animation definitely probably takes up a lot of time compared to 2D animation. At least that's just a guess on my part. I don't know how it all works.
And that's what I'm thinking is, back then it was probably a lot cheaper and easier for them just to to have anime cutscenes, but now that they have these more crisp and probably, I mean, I've never done like any form of like 3D animation, especially in a game sense, so I don't know which would be easier, but I feel like maybe with their current engine that they're running the game on now, it might be even easier now to just continue it in the game rather than cutting to an anime cutscene. They still have a few, like the opening cutscene and a few like very important bits are still the anime cutscene, but a lot of them now are in-game. And honestly, it was a little, I wasn't expecting it, and I'm a little sad because I did like that, but it's not like it's a deal breaker.
Right.
Another interesting thing is they're voice acted now, and this throws me off because when I first was introduced to Persona 3, it was a Let's Play I found on YouTube a long time ago, and because there was only voice acting during special like cutscenes and everything, 90% of the characters, like the side characters, like your social links and everything, which they did keep those in. I think most of the social links, again, I'm not that far in the game. I think I'm a month and a half in the game and it's a whole year. So I'm like not even a quarter of the way through the game. So I don't know if all of the social links are there. They probably are, but who's to say? But they're all voice acted now, and that threw me off because when I watched this Let's Play the first time, because they weren't voice acted, he gave them their own voice. Like he spoke it out, like, so that way if you were listening or anything, you didn't have to watch and read. And he was trying to be funny because I remember there's this, your first social link is this kid. He's one of your classmates. His name is Kenji Tomochika, I think, but he couldn't say his last name that well, so he called him Kenji Tomatoes, and he gave him the Eric Cartman voice. And so that's the voice I have associated this character with. So when this character appeared, I'm like, oh shit, it's Kenji. And then he speaks and it's just this basic ass like dude voice. I'm like, wait, that was so jarring for me, but that's a me issue because from this Let's Play, I've already like associated these certain voices with some of these characters because they didn't have a voice at the time. They were not voice acted and anything. So that was just a me thing for jarring. But if you did not have that, and like, it is nice to hear these characters actually have a voice because in the past they didn't. And I do like how they went above and beyond for that because they could have continued with just not voice acting, except maybe like, a little grunt or a little like noise of affirmation that they've done in the past. But now they have like, they full on like speak every portion of their dialogue, and that's nice.
Yeah, it's like when Has Been Hotel finally got its first season after like 4 something years of the pilot being put on YouTube. So a lot of the characters got their voice actors like changed out, and one of the ones that caught me off guard the most was Husker's voice actor, because he went from, I believe Mick Lauer is the one who voiced Husk in the pilot, and then Keith David ended up becoming the voice for the actual show.
Did this man just say Keith David?
And their voices are not terribly different from each other, but different enough to where you would immediately notice the difference, and it kind of caught me off guard a bit. I like Keith David as Husk, but it just caught me off guard that the voice changed that much.
Oh yeah, and that happened too, because again, this game originally came out into like the early 2000s. So even the characters that were voiced, like the main cast of characters, I think a lot of them, if not almost all of them, they have different voice actors, which is fine, That's almost 20 years that has passed. So sure, they could have gotten the same voice actors, but by this point they might be busy with other projects, they might retire, they have no interest in voicing again these characters. Who knows what's to say why they didn't. Maybe they just wanted a fresh set of voices, which is fine, that's completely fine. But it was a little jarring because one character, I believe he was voiced by the same guy who voiced Gaara from Naruto. I can't remember his name. Is it Yuri Lowenthal, I think? I should probably do a quick fact check.
Who was it? Who voices who?
Gaara.
Voices Gaara?
Liam O'Brien. Yuri Lowenthal, someone else. Liam O'Brien. I'm pretty sure he voiced someone from Persona. I think it was Akihiko. And that kind of it kind of like, what's the word I'm thinking of? It was a little jarring at first. I'm like, oh, that's not the voice I remember this character having. But again, he was probably busy with other things, or they just wanted someone fresh, which is fair enough.
It's also...
Actually, wait, he might have come back, actually. I'm just quick.
One thing that's also really nice, too, about this remake of it is that even if you do buy it, it's only $60, or is it cheaper than that? The original version of Persona 3 Portable can go anywhere from $80 to $120 if you can find one.
Oh my god, yeah, that was another thing, because I remember before this got announced, I managed to track a copy of the original PS2 version on eBay. I think it was like, it was technically cheaper than this, but for probably what it sold back when it came out was double, because I think it was like about $40-$50 that I paid for this copy.
Okay.
But I bet back in the day, it was probably like $20-$30, because, you know, inflation, that's a different topic. But like, you know, technically it was double, but it was less than this. But still, in comparison to if I would have bought it like as a kid when it first came out, that is double than what you would have paid for. So it is a little shitty. But then, yeah, I bought that. And then I think a month later, they announced that this was coming out in like a year and a half. And I'm like, you gotta be shitting me right now.
I think I remember you complaining about that.
Yeah. One other thing that I like I said, that I've gotten to so far, because I'm only about a month in game time into the game. So I haven't been able to see everything that has been changed. It does so far look like that they have kept a lot of what was in the original game story-wise. I haven't even made it to the first like full moon section, not like the beginning tutorial one, but like when the story starts to kick off. I haven't even gotten to that point yet because I've just been busy. But the map is so much better. The way you use them, like the traveling system is so much more smoother. They have added little bits and pieces you can go to in the map that they didn't before. It's a lot more smoother than the original game. And another interesting thing that I liked is I think this is a feature from the 5th, maybe even the 4th game even, is I remember in the 3rd one, you kind of just go around and do things. Like, you know, you still do the whole like upgrading your stats and everything, like your charisma, your charm, and your your charm, intelligence, academics, whatever, and bravery, courage, that's what it was. But I did like how you could work little part-time jobs in this, and I think that started in the 4th game, but probably was a feature in the 5th game too.
Okay.
See, I'm like so disconnected from Persona, and I've been kind of white noising it this whole time, and then all of a sudden I hear part-time job, and I'm like, what? Huh?
At one point,
Persona about a day-night cycle where at nighttime you become a weird warrior? I didn't know there was jobs and 401ks.
Well, so the main premise of Persona, at least with 3 and 4, I want to say maybe 5. I think it's just the whole premise of the series is, yeah, by day you are a average Japanese high schooler, average Japanese citizen, and then by night you are a persona wielding either vigilante or usually some form of vigilante, because you're like kind of trying to save the area you're in by your own means. And so yeah, that's the basic premise of all the Persona games, if I'm pretty sure. Like that's how 3 is, that's how 4 is. I'm not too sure if that's how 5 is, probably. And one thing though that I should have mentioned this in the beginning, I don't know if 5 really has a lot of heavy topics, but 3 in the beginning does warn that the game does focus on certain heavy topics, such as I'm trying to remember how it basically words that there are references of like depression and suicide in the game. So that is a quick fair warning. This game does kind of have some heavy topic focuses. I haven't gotten to that point, but like in the opening cutscene, there literally is a scene where a girl is jumping off of a roof.
Oh, wow. That must be a rite of passage for Persona games, because something similar like that happens in 5.
Yeah, there's literally in the like even before you get to the main menu, it's literally the opening scene as the game boots up. You know, it's all like anime happy noises and some really banging music, and then there's like a girl jumping off the school, and it's just like, oh, okay.
I've always thought it was funny too how like in some of the games it's interesting how the characters activate their persona.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, in this one you shoot yourself in the head with a gun.
Yep, you shoot yourself in the face with a gun. In 5 you have this mask that's like glued to your face, and you go to rip it off with your skin to basically activate your persona.
Yeah, in 4 you like crushed a card, I think.
That was the only tame one. All the other ones is some weird crazy shit.
Yeah, 4 was so tame. They literally just like crushed a card and their persona came out. They wore glasses, but that was to like see in their like alternate universe world that they were like hunting in, fighting in. No, yeah, but I guess in 5, yeah, you're literally ripping your face off, and then in 3, you're actively holding a gun to your head and shooting yourself in the temple to activate your persona. Because that's another thing in the opening cutscene. One of the main characters, like one of the main 3, she's literally like breathing heavily in her room and attempting to put a gun to her head. So that's another thing. It looks bad. It's really not, but I haven't gotten that far, so it probably reaches some slightly heavier topics because that's just the series. They gloss over topics like that.
It's definitely a franchise for like older teens to adults.
It does have a mature rating of M for violence, obviously, because you are literally fighting. That's like one of the main focuses of the game.
And
strong language, yeah, partial nudity, which it's a Japanese game, sexual themes, and blood, which again, it's definitely for older audiences. So it may seem like a fun little cutesy anime JRPG, but it's not.
I'd say it'd be fine for a teen if they're mature enough.
Yes, it should not be something a 12-year-old should be picking up, because that's how old I was when I found the game and I wanted to play it.
We all played games we weren't supposed to.
Yeah, fun fact, when I was like 12, 13 years old when I found the game, I found it, and this was when Amazon was relatively new, so me and my mom didn't have it, but my aunt and uncle did, and Christmas time was coming around, and mom was just like, hey, your aunt wants to know if you want anything for Christmas. I'm like, I want this game, and I pointed it to her because of the fact that like the personas are classed through the tarot arcanas. It had like some tarot designs on the front and everything, and my family is rather religious, so my mom took one look at it and she instantly shut it down. She was like, oh hell no, you are not getting anything with cult symbols on it. And I'm like, what do you mean? She probably would have not liked the game with some of the things that it dealt with, so it might have been for the best, because that's the last thing I would have wanted to explain if she was watching me play. She'd be like, what the f- is this? And be like, it's the game that you let me get. And she'd be like, no.
That's not what we agreed upon, child.
Yeah, but all in all, I really like the game so far. I'm probably going to enjoy it from beginning to end. Will I replay it? Mostly not, because of the fact it's so long. Yeah, that is the caveat of these games. They don't have great replayability just because of how long they are.
Yeah, these, especially me, whenever I play a story game, I don't really have the urge to replay it a second time unless it was something that really captivated me. But when it's games like that it's so long, there's just no way I could replay it again.
The only way I could say you could replay this is either A, you have the time and the patience to sit down and play this continuously for how long it is, or B, you are an avid like achievement grinder, because I haven't looked at the achievement list for it, but I'm going to naturally assume that there probably is missable achievements, maybe linked to the social links, because you can miss a lot if you do not scour the game. So those are like the two ways that I could see this being a good replayable game, in the sense of either you are enamored by this and you have the time, energy, and patience to just plow through it, or you're an achievement grinder, because there are probably missable achievements just due to that alone. Like I said, I haven't looked at the achievement list, but I'm going to naturally assume there probably is one where you get all the social links, and some of them are probably very easily missable, because some of them you get through the story, obviously. Some of them are, well, you can only get this achievement or this social link if you talk to this one character 3 times, because she will reject you every time you talk to her until that 3rd time. Then she'll finally cave and talk to you. Which, one thing I'm really hoping that because I think this was an option in, was it the PlayStation? I don't know if this is an option, because with the social links, you can romance some of your female classmates, which is fine. I don't care about that. But I think my issue with it was, in the past, it always led to romance. You had no choice whether you could be friends with them or whether you banged them. It always led to that. And it could up if like they found out that you were progressing 2 romances at the same time, and it would essentially ruin your progress with the social link.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that they implemented where you could either choose to progress it as a romance or you just remain friends, but I haven't gotten that far. And if I recall, I think they made that an option in the PlayStation Portable Edition. I want to say, I'm not 100% sure. I know they made it an option in one of their later titles. Was that an option in 5?
I know in 5 if you get far enough to where it's about to become a relationship with a character, you'll get a text bubble of your character thinking in your head like, oh wait, I'm already in a relationship with someone. Should I continue with this?
Okay, and maybe they did it like that too, because like I said, I haven't gotten that far. I didn't even get that far in the original game because again, these are long ass games. I got work, I got other shit. I barely had the time to sit down and play it, even though I wanted to. So, but I do note the fact that like you were forced into it, and I'm really hoping that they got away from that. And that's just me being all like, I hate the idea that a male character can't be friends with a female character. It has to be male character befriends female character, and then her, you know, her Gucci gets wet for him, and they bang. And I'm like, that's not how it always goes.
So
Please stop.
You're saying you want characters that are written according to the Bechdel test.
What?
The Bechdel test? It's where two female characters have a conversation that doesn't involve a man.
Yeah, speaking of that, real quick, off topic, I graduated with the niece of the woman who made the... Shut up. I graduated with the niece of the woman who created the Bechdel test.
That's a really interesting fact. Maybe we'll get on the creator of the Bechdel test for an in-depth...
Yeah. I graduated with her older niece.
Oh, nice.
The co-creator of the Bechdel test is her aunt. And when I found that, I'm like, oh shit. I found that out after we graduated, so I never even like got to say anything about it, but I thought that was interesting.
And for the Bechdel test. Okay.
But anyway, so that is my opinion about Persona 3 Reload. Essentially boiling down to it, I enjoy the game. I really like it. If you like like modern JRPGs where you play as a Japanese high schooler, honestly, I'd give it a shot, especially if you do have access to Game Pass. Even if you don't and you just like you want to do like the little, I think they have a free trial, right? The Game Pass has like a free trial system. I want to see if they do.
I think so. It depends on what time of the year you're trying to sign up for the first time. I know when it's during the holidays, they usually give you a month free and then start charging you. Or they'll do a thing where it's like $3 for the first month.
I guess basically if you're interested in this and you don't have Game Pass, but if you have the opportunity to like get it for free or like through someone else, I would definitely give this game a try then if you don't feel like buying it, because it is, you know, modern game price of like $50-$60. I get that. It can be a little intimidating, especially if you feel you won't like it. But if you do have access to play for free, definitely give it a try because it is a pretty good game. It is very fun. It is very long, but I 100% recommend it as a very nice story game to just turn the lights off, grab a snack, grab a drink, and just kick your feet back and play a nice big RPG. But anyway, moving on from anime video games, Snorbert Borber, what do you have about your little anime corner? What news do you have? Okay, Blaze, what do you have to tell us about Sonic?
Robbie! Oh my get your ass back here. I am never letting him leave the editor's room again.
Oh my god, this is what we need to get like a brick. We need to get a chain, put it on a brick, and then attach the chain to his ankle.
And then put a bell on the chain too so we know when he's trying to leave.
Yes.
Where the did he go?
How do we lose a 6-foot scrawny Canadian rat boy so easily?
He's in the walls.
He's somewhere, but not here. I know earlier he went to help his dad, but like, where the is he now?
Yeah, he was just talking a little bit ago too.
Honestly, did he already like just completely glaze over when I went back to talking about it for a second? Like, Jesus.
Yes. Well, this is gonna be a fun little bloopers add to YouTube. Knowing Robbie, he's probably just gonna edit it all out to save his ass.
He better not edit it out to where like you did the crickets. You better keep that in.
Yeah, that was great. I am so glad I had that. I had that on standby.
Oh my god.
I knew it. I knew the moment that I would leave to go say bye to my sister would be the time that you'd end your topic. I'm so sorry. God damn it.
Yeah, I did my transition and then we waited. So I was like, all right, Blaze, about Sonic and cricket chirping.
Literally, as I was putting my headset down, the last thing I could hear you say was like, oh, that was my talking point about Persona. And I'm like, shit, I'm hearing my sister call me up from upstairs. I really gotta like go say bye to her. I am so sorry. Anyway.
Well, on the bright side, you got some fun shit to add to the YouTube version.
You've got some stuff to edit.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Oh, you didn't even hear what I called you?
No, I was completely.
I called you Snorbert Borbert.
Norbert Borbert. That is a new one.
I'm like, how do we lose a 6-foot scrawny Canadian rat boy so easily.
Hey, I'm 5'8". Gotta respect my short kings out there. Anyway,
You're 6 foot.
I've never been
That
6
would
foot in
be
my life.
me.
Yeah, he's the 6 foot one.
No.
He's the gargantuan mammoth.
Y'all are taller than me, so
Yeah, well,
might
you're
as
like
be-
4'11". Anybody
I am
is
not.
taller than you.
I am not.
You are
4'11".
canonically 4'10.5". That is your canon height in our. Anyways, I'm gonna get right into
Yeah,
my.
I'm still just 5'2".
You have time to shrink. It's okay. Anyways,
I probably will shrink.
we all will shrink into the grave. Anyways, so to get into my portion of the episode, because I'm totally on time and didn't at all drop the ball by leaving my mic unattended. Anyways,
The crickets say otherwise.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, there's like a whole bunch of anime related news when it comes to anime games and anime shows that's coming out that I just want to rattle off real quick, just because I'm a huge fan of Dragon Ball. So starting off, Battle Hour happened just in the latter moments and latter days of January, and they revealed a crap ton of information that I want to get into. First of all, they revealed the final DLC for Dragon Ball Kakarot, which is going to take place between after the Buu Saga into the end of Z with Oob and all that, and I am really cautiously optimistic because I never really understood where it placed in the timeline now that Super became a thing, but I'm sure they'll be able to figure something out, and I really hope that this is another reference to the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament DLC, where it was more boots on the ground, it was less flying, more grounded combat. That's going to be hype, and obviously we'll probably get another, like a sequel game where it'll get the entirety of Super into the Tournament of Power, maybe into the manga, which I'm hoping for. But speaking of the manga, the one thing that is going to be replacing what should be the new series of episodes for Super is Dragon Ball Daima, which is going to be the newest story written by the original creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama. So anyways, this is going to be a weird one because they released another trailer for it. Absolutely gorgeous. These visuals look incredible, better than some of the movie clips that we've seen from Broly and Super. And I have absolutely no idea where this places in the timeline. I don't know if they're doing a Dragon Ball Superheroes route and making its own continuity in its own universe. I don't know, but this honestly looks kind of fun, and it looks something new and fresh. So I'd just like to add, because my former self forgot to mention, the Dragon Ball Daima trailer did end with a release date of fall of 2024. And one last comment I'd like to add is that I feel like this may be the smartest choice Dragon Ball has ever made, as this can finally allow the manga to stretch out. Yes, they have the Moral arc into the Granola arc, and now they're covering Dragon Ball Superheroes into the latest chapters of the manga, which I'm really excited if you know what is going on, specifically right after the movie takes place. But I think this is the smartest choice for Akira Toriyama to make, because now Dragon Ball Super's manga can just keep extending, and then they'll have 3 or 4 seasons of content just to make episodes on, and they won't have to rush. They'll be able to take their time to make the visuals as best as they can, because we all know what happened at the start of Super. They tried to make the movie into some animation episodes, and it wasn't the best. But I hope that it's given the time that it needs, and I'm just really excited. I'm really excited for the show. I'm really excited to see where the manga's going, and just to see how everything turns out. I am optimistic about this. I just hate how the manga stories like the Moro arc and the Granola arc, I hate how those have just been lost to the pages of the manga. I really want to see at least like a movie, maybe a mini series, just wrapping that up into Super, like the latter half of Super. But you know,
I want to see that stuff animated so bad.
Oh yeah,
like on
dude,
top of like
so many moments.
Minor
Yardrat, like
minor spoiler. Not gonna go too much in detail, so it's still a big thing, but a little bit of Goku and Bardock stuff with the the later chapters of
that
Super 2, which is something a lot of people have wanted to see.
Dude, I want to see everything that they've done. Literally, the Tournament of Power is great, but like I'd say my favorite arcs in Super were the Goku Black arc and the Tournament 6, Tournament 7, or the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament before the Tournament of Power. Like I think we are beyond the point of caring about who's written what and who's drawn up what. Like we should, because I know the whole part. One of the reasons why the manga has stayed in the manga is because because they haven't been Toei Animation hasn't been on board with the creator of it because it's not Akira Toriyama. But as you said, Blaze, there's so many different things in the manga that I want to see be brought back. And the one way that I think we'll be able to see that with my amazing ability to transition is with the new news of Sparking Zero, the new Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi game. And the roster is speculated to have, I want to say, around 160, maybe a little bit more than 160 characters. And I'm hopeful that, because there was a poll that was on some YouTuber's channel, and they said, what would make or break this game for you? And for me, it was the what if situations. Like, they could literally have a whole section of the what if part of the game, just have it be manga, like going through all of the stories yet to be told. Because that was my favorite part about going into Budokai Tenkaichi, was just having great co-op team battles, going through amazing transformations. And when it came to the single player, was like the what if stories. Like the story mode was kind of cookie cutter because, you know, at this point we've heard it like a million times. But I really can't wait to hear more information about Sparking Zero, to hopefully see some what if scenarios, maybe get a DLC pack where they include the manga. But yeah, aside from that Dragon Ball news, which I'm telling you right now, I'm getting all three of you, Menace and Subset, to get Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, because we're all just gonna have a blast going through.
So you want us to kick your ass in another game?
Yes, I don't care. I'm getting my ass kicked in Curse Clash. I don't care. I'm having fun.
Speaking of the game, though, over 160 characters. That's a lot of different characters. Am I assuming that a lot of those are just different versions of the same character, like Goku and Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3?
The way that it was kind of shown off is that each character has its own set type. So you have, I think the way they're doing it in the actual source code is that they have early, mid, and late. So late would be it would be base form into Ultra Instinct, and by extension like Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue. And the mid Goku is where they go base to Super Saiyan 3, and then early would be base to Kaioken times 3. So I think that's the way they're going to do it, but they might also just do composite, where they have one character slot, like Budokai Tenkaichi 3, where they have one slot and show all the forms afterwards. But the one thing I hope is that I hope each of these versions of the character fight in it, like have a different fighting style to actually do, like Curse Clash. I know we'll be talking about that in the next couple weeks when Menace is able to join us. But the one shining light about that game right now is the diversity of all the characters and how different they all feel from each other. And I just hope that continues in other games.
Yeah.
But aside from all that Dragon Ball news, the only other things I wanted to talk about was the fact that, speaking of another Shonen Jump anime game, My Hero Ultra Rumble is starting its season 3, and that means we finally get a new map. Holy shit, I've been waiting forever for them to finally implement a new map. And Twice was shown off as the latest addition to the roster, which I think will be cool. I just think they should, with their new introductions to moveset variants, where characters can have more than one quirk set, I think that's an interesting way to go. But I am kind of in the majority where I think they should focus on making a diverse line of characters and then adding on to it afterwards.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
Yeah, but aside from that, there was only one other thing I wanted to talk about, which was gonna relate to Subset's VR game topic. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Had its 25th anniversary, and they showed off Solid Vision, which is this experimental VR showcase. And holy shit, I've seen so many videos online of people creating Yu-Gi-Oh! In VR spaces, and like for them to finally officially make their own. Oh, dude, it's gonna be Sword Art Online. I'm gonna be lost in the Yu-Gi-Oh! World. I'm gonna be dueling you and Menace and Blade and Subset, and we're all. Dude, I can't wait. I'm so hyped for that, actually.
I'm not. I don't want to go against Subset. His decks are rude.
Yeah, they're rude, but they're rude in 3D.
So you want to get your ass kicked in third dimension. Got it.
Yeah. Yes. If I saw a Blue Eyes White Dragon on the opposite side of the field and he destroyed, I'd be totally content with that. Seeing a life-sized Blue Eyes White Dragon. But yeah, speaking of jumbled up news topics, I know that with all the Dragon Ball news that has come out, there has been an equal amount of Sonic news that has surfaced. So Blaze, why don't you take us through the litany of reveals that have happened over the past couple weeks for the Sonic franchise?
Oh boy. Sonic fans are eating good this year. Not this month, not this week, this year.
Especially with Sonic Frontiers DLC, Sonic. What was that other 2D Sonic game that they came out with? I know it wasn't Sonic. Was it other than Sonic?
They released a Sonic game that was mobile. I don't remember. Sonic Dream Team. They released.
Yeah, Sonic Dream Team. Yeah, that's what it was.
But yeah, so I got a few things to talk about. First thing is the new Sonic Shadow Generations game that got announced about almost 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks ago now at this point. So a lot of people are really hyped about this remaster, but it's not just remaster that's adding in Shadow into it.
Dude. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, dude. I'm hyped about this too. It remasters from the ground up the Sonic Generations game, putting it onto all systems, completely revamped with better graphics, but it's also adding in Shadow with his own story that is a small sequel to Shadow the Hedgehog back in like 2004.
Which is such a deep cut, dude. Like, I just want to say I'm loving these companies like Nintendo and Sega where they're like, you know what? We're going to bring back this old game everybody loved, but you know what? We're going to add to it. We're going to make it feel like it's worth the $80 we're selling it for. Oh, dude, it happened with Super Mario 3D World with Bowser's Furry Revenge. That's not the name of it. That's not at all the name of it. Bowser's Fury. And Bowser's Fury. I don't know why I said anything else but that. But yeah, these game companies that are just like, here's a lovely game that everybody loves, but you know, instead of pricing it at $80 as it just being a remaster, we're gonna add like whole new experiences and actually make it worth your money. I'm like, oh, please, I'll give you all my money.
But yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog was by far my favorite Sonic game, which is kind of funny considering that it's a spin-off. But it was Shadow the Hedgehog was my favorite Sonic game, hands down. And
so you like going slow and shooting guns. Got it.
You can go really fast with Shadow. You can fight like Sonic or you can fight like Shadow. It pretty much gives you the diversity to do both. But yeah, I really like that game the most, and it's really interesting that they're actually gonna make a Shadow sequel of it. Shadow sequel.
I'm hyped for it. I mean, I know my paralysis demon is that little like wiggly eyeball thing in the Shadow the Hedgehog game, and I'm never gonna not live a day where I'm like, ugh, just little tentacle wiggles. But yeah, the fact that they're bringing this back, because I feel like Shadow the Hedgehog was in line with those games that had a lot more of a realistic style. So seeing that represented in and brought back kind of in the newer age. I know since like I think it was Generations, the whole Sonic timeline has been connected into one giant thing. So this is nothing new, but you know, we may see a resurgence of other Sonic games with new content, like, you know, Sonic Riders, and we'll get those three guys.
Sonic Rider.
The name of
Jet. I remember Jet.
That's the green guy.
I remember the other two, but I remember Jet very well.
I don't think anybody else cares about anybody that isn't Jet. But yeah, I'm excited to see the direction they're going to take with this, especially with like how garnered Generations was in the past, with how good it was and how kind of it was kind of like the one shining peak of the modern 3D Sonic games.
Yeah, but not all.
I mean Sonic Colors was good too, but then it's kind of dipped down.
Yeah, a lot of the newer Sonic games I haven't really been feeling too much for. It wasn't until Sonic Forces and Sonic Frontiers that I was finally starting to get back into Sonic a bit. But yeah, there was a good period where they were just releasing Sonic games that I just didn't really care about. But not only do we have game Sonic news, but we got movie Sonic news too.
Oh shit!
Speaking of
Shadow.
Yeah, speaking of Shadow, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is going to be bringing Shadow into the movies. There is a rumor that Hayden Christensen might be voicing Shadow.
See, I just want him to. I know this is such a big ask, but I want him to sound like the old Sonic X cartoons. Faker, you're the fake hedgehog.
That would be dope. If they went that route with it, I think that'd be really cool. And I think I could see Hayden pulling off that kind of voice. I think he could do it if that ends up being true, that he is going to voice Shadow.
I think whoever they pick, because especially because I don't know, when I heard Idris Elba was going to be Knuckles, I didn't really know how to feel about it, just because I'm so indoctrinated by the voices that Knuckles has had in the past. Mm-hmm. But he did a really great job, so I think this is a place where they may give similar tone tones of voices, but give it to more broad actors.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait for Big the Cat. That's my hope for the post-credit scene.
I am wondering if Sonic 3 we're gonna get like Big the Cat, Amy, Cream, Rouge. But yeah, I am wondering if we're gonna get any of those characters in Sonic 3 as well, because there have been a lot of cast members that have been announced to be in it, but there's no one. They're not spilling who they're voicing.
One thing I'm happy for is Jim Carrey's coming back.
Yes, that was another thing. That's another thing I was gonna bring up is Jim Carrey is returning to be Eggman one last time. He is not retiring just yet, folks.
Well, you know this, like, as long as Eggman exists in the Sonic movie universe, just like how, what's his name? Who's the guy that did the live action Shaggy? Matthew Lillard. Just how Matthew Lillard's probably going to be tied to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie franchise for generations to come. Like, these roles get so iconic in live action situations that I could see Jim Carrey, because in the new Sonic Prime show that they did, which had 2 seasons on Netflix, go watch it. It's great.
Third season just came out.
Oh, they have a 3rd season. That's awesome. Yep. Multiverse Madness. It's actually great. But one of the things they implemented was multiple Dr. Eggmans, so we could see like a CGI version of baby Eggman, then his current 70-year-old self, and then him like de-aged a bit. But I'm just saying, like, I think Jim Carrey is the type of character actor where he can do this role for years and years, and just like I don't think he'll retire anytime soon with how much fun he seems to be having with this role.
I will say though, if after Sonic 3 I could see them doing maybe one more Sonic movie, because I don't want them to milk it till it's dead, but I feel like they could get a 4th one in where it's either the enemy for Sonic 4 is either like Chaos or Metal Sonic.
Oh, I was literally thinking about doing Chaos, but then I was like, but would the CGI make it look good? I think Metal Sonic would probably be a little bit better. Yeah. But if they go into the territory of Sonic Adventure 2 like that, I don't even know how you're gonna budget that in animation.
Yeah, because this whole movie, Sonic 3, is gonna be based off of Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh,
they're going the full 9-yard with the story. They even I forget the name of the girl actress that they announced is going to be in the movie. We all know she's being Maria, so we know they're going all out with this. They're going the Dark Shadow story.
Like Sonic 4 is probably going to take place in the future with Silver and implement him. There is so much. And then, once we finally get the Super Smash Bros. Movie, then we may see a sports-based drama of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games.
Oh, Jesus.
We may see a 8-part miniseries on Disney Plus. Nintendo Plus or whatever I don't know. I think they're gonna make. I hope they make a streaming service with Illumination to kind of compete.
Yeah.
So they don't get eaten by Disney.
But 2 more things I wanted to add in for Sonic 3 is that we did get a teaser with the logo for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and the announcement.
Oh, it looks so cool.
It does look good, and it's like a straight rip out of Sonic Adventure 2 with the logo. And the teaser did announce that we will be getting the movie in December.
Bro, see, oh man, we're getting because we're getting Moana 2 in November. I think we're getting Sonic 3 in December. Like, a lot of great movies are coming out this year.
Yeah, which is good because I feel like we've been in kind of a funk these last couple months where there hasn't been anything that has really caught our eyes for our group at least.
And then the stuff that does come out is just disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
But here's hoping that, we can, because, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 might be coming out either this year or next year. Oh, that would be fun to watch too. I'm excited for film. I just would rather stream it at home, if I'm going to be honest.
I love going to the movies.
And then I completely forgot. Sorry, I'm going to add this as an addendum to my anime news bulletin, but My Hero has a 4th movie also coming out at some point, which is going to be, I think the main villain is going to be a guy that mistook All Might's "Your Next" line, and he became a villain, and we may see evil All Might in a movie. So it's so much awesome movie media is coming out now, and I feel like every company is just kind of firing on all cylinders for our attention.
Yeah,
it's definitely a down period.
Yeah, but not only is this movie going to be showing off a lot of stuff people are going to love about it, Sonic Adventure 2 in it. We're also getting a lot of good music in it as well, because Crush 40 has announced that their music is going to be in this movie. We're going to get the iconic Live and Learn song from Sonic Adventure 2 in this movie at some point.
No, dude. You know it's going to be part of the introduction. Oh.
But here's the thing I'm really hoping for, and which will make a lot of people happy, or me especially, because of how much I love this Shadow the Hedgehog game. If they play I Am All of Me when Shadow appears, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind.
They learned their lesson from the first song. Imagine if Sonic 1 had launched with the design that they originally intended.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because you know, another part of what you're going to be talking about, like, there's now spin-offs. There's probably going to be an Eggman spin-off, I would assume.
Maybe. But yeah.
So much.
We have a spin-off series that's going to prelude into Sonic 3, which is kind of funny because going back to the Sega Genesis, we had Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Sonic and Knuckles. I guarantee you, Tails will barely make an appearance in this spin-off. It'll be all Knuckles and Sonic.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be mostly Knuckles. I think Sonic's gonna appear in like the first episode for a little bit, and then it's just gonna be Knuckles throughout the rest of it.
I hope so. I hope it's Knuckles, the history of the echidnas.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if we go more into the echidnas story and more of Knuckles' backstory with the echidnas and everything. But
the one thing I'm sorry to keep interjecting here, but the one thing that I was super hyped about this new movie franchise is the owl people. Like, those people were concepts that I really wanted to look into when it came to looking at these movies, because I know the original introduction we would have seen a little bit more of Baby Sonic and the owl who would have taken care of him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so much potential here.
But yeah, we are going to be getting a Knuckles series on Paramount Plus, which the first episode should be airing late April, I believe. And that series is going to prelude into Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
I mean, I'm hyped for that. I'm hyped for them building up the world before they get to the movie. I think this is a smart choice, especially with Knuckles, because like they could have done it with Tails, but I think Knuckles is more of the icon. Like, Tails will forever be Sonic's sidekick, so he doesn't really need to be fleshed out that much, aside from like his subplots in the movies that he's a part of. But I feel like Knuckles was a really good choice to do this miniseries, especially leading into their third movie, because they could have done a Shadow one, but I feel like that'd be better saved for after the movie.
Mm-hmm. If he survives it, because we all kind of know what happens in Sonic Adventure 2.
Spoilers. No, it's fine. Everyone's gonna live happily ever after.
Well, some people.
Some people may not. Anyway, yeah, that's.
But anyway, that's all I got for Sonic news on my end. Gemini, what you got for Paralives? What's up with that?
Sorry.
Staring off into space.
You just got reached out from the depths of hell.
Well, I had to pull my attention span from the depths of hell because I was zoning out hard.
Oh my god. We are
anyway.
a bunch of ADHD dissociators, I swear.
We really are. Anyway, so Paralives. Yes, if you know me, which most of you don't, but that's besides the point. I love life simulation games, and that's what Paralives is. It is an upcoming life sim game that has been. It's not even in early access, so I can't even say that. It's not even in early access yet. It is a life simulation game that has been in development since 2019, and I had so much lined up that I was going to talk about, but I was too busy dissociated. Oh my god.
You got this.
Anyway,
I believe in you.
But if you've been living under a rock, or you're just not really into that side of gaming, which is fair, these chuckle nuts aren't really into it either, so it's a life simulation game that is being developed and has started development back in 2019. And the interesting thing is, it is a very, very, very small development team game. By that I mean, when they started, it was just one dude. It was one dude who started this game. He quit his job and he wanted to make a game, and that was early 2019. And now, in the year of our sick and dying Lord of 2024, they released a gameplay trailer and the first whisper of their early access release in 2025. And I am so excited because when I caught wind of this game, I was happy because I myself am a big ass fucking fan of Life Sims, especially the biggest one that's pretty much had a chokehold of the title of life simulation, The Sims. I've loved it ever since I was a kid. It was probably one of the first games that really like gripped me hard, aside from Mario Kart, but that's just because it was the first game I ever played. It is a game that has pretty much just had me in a chokehold ever since my childhood. And this is a game that is actually going to be a strong competitor against it, because that has been a big issue in the past. I'd say, honestly, God, how old is The Sims? Like 20, it's 24 years old. The past 24 years, The Sims has been a reigning king of the life simulation franchise. There has been nothing that could ever compare to it until pretty much now. I've already talked about Life by You by Paradox, and while that one does seem like it is a pretty decent contender, it's a little still janky and everything, and I do have high hopes for it because of the fact of one of the people behind it is someone who worked on The Sims 2, so I do have hopes, but this one I have really big hopes for, just due to the fact that, one, it is a team now of like 10 people trying to compete against EA, Maxis, one of the big kahunas of like the gaming industry. And honestly, I really think they'll do it, because when they released their gameplay trailer, it was so refreshing. One, the art style is so cute. It's cartoony, but not in like a Animal Crossing sense. It's more like I don't know how to describe it. It gives me like, I think the best way I can describe the style is, what was that one gay life choice game where you played as the girl who could rewind time? What was that game?
Life is Strange?
Life is Strange.
The butterfly effect? Are you disrespecting Life is Strange?
It's a shit game. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
can see it. It does give an animation that's very similar to that from the stuff I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, so the style is kind of similar. Like I said, the best comparison I can find or I can think of is like Life is Strange, but a little bit more cozy feeling, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Less gritty, more cozy feeling. And so it's definitely a bit like it's the opposite side of the coin from Life by You, because Life by You is definitely more realistic looking, kind of like GTA and IMVU and everything. This is more of a cartoony, cozy feeling. And one of the things that was really refreshing is because throughout the years that this game has been in production, they have released, like I'd say once or twice a month, they release little updates kind of to see how the game has been progressing. First, they started with just the very basic, simple building tools that the creator, I think his name is Alex Massey. His name is Alex. And it was just a few simple building tools that he had been able to kind of smooth out with this game that he created. Then it bumped up to like a few things like more from building to then like placing items down, the beginnings of like creating the hair and everything for these upcoming characters called Paras, because Paralives, he's calling them Paras, which is so cute. It's just cute. And then showing the design for the characters, how you will make them, and it's just been a very slow burn of a process. And it is a very like frustrating wait, because like I said, this has been 2019 and we're now in 2024. This game has been in production for almost 5 years now, and it hasn't even hit early access yet, so it's not even in early access hell yet. But I honestly don't think it's going to be one of those early access hell games, because the creator seems like he's very passionate, and the people that he has hired onto this project seem like they are very passionate as well to make this game, to make something new and definitive.
Looks like back when the game was in really early production, it actually won a 2020 award for most anticipated Canadian game.
Oh, is he? I didn't realize that he was Canadian.
You guys can't disrespect Canada now.
Oh, please. It's just how Canadians and Americans are. We disrespect each other all the time.
I mean, you're not wrong. Whenever I see an American, I go, Chili.
I'm not French. Disgusting.
Well, I was never a French Canadian, all right? I took French for 7 years, and my grades got shit, so I'm like, all right, I kind of need to turn my life around here.
But yeah. Oh, he's from Quebec. But that's a joke. Anyway, so yeah, he is a Canadian game producer. He's the one who's making the game. Alex Massey, I don't know. Massey.
Massey.
And so, this game has been in production hell, I guess you could say, but it's not really hell. It's just, it's a small team. It started out as one dude. He quit his job and he wanted to make a game. Of course, it's going to take a long time. And just the roadmap and the progress they've been showing is amazing. And when they released this gameplay trailer, which was earlier this week, actually, when I saw the night before that they were releasing it, I was like, holy shit. I was so excited. I was like flipping my hands around like a goddamn idiot. And then at the strike of 11, I opened YouTube and I watched it and I nearly cried. I'm gonna be honest, I was such a bitch. I nearly cried. And it was just so interesting because they brought they kind of had some similar features with older Sims games where you use like kind of personality points to give them their personality, but it's simple. They've simplified it, and honestly, it works because I feel the more simple, the better. And by simple, I don't mean skimping out on like cutting things. I mean like just making it simple, like less is more. The saying less is more? I honestly think they're kind of holding that phrase when they're making this game of less is more. And I think that's really interesting because another thing is that while the personalities seem bare bones and simple at first, when you play your para, when you play the game, as you play them, you can upgrade their personality in a sense. And I really like that because that actually kind of translates to how real life even works. You upgrade your personality in a sense as you live your life, as you experience things, as you make new friends, as you discover new hobbies and everything. You essentially upgrade your personality as you get older, as you live your life. And I love that. I love this feature. They've just shown so many unique things and different ways to play a life simulator game. And I have just been so excited for it. And when they and next year, they didn't give a specific date. They just said 2025 is when the early access release. And damn well when that drops, I will not shut the up about it on this damn podcast. Every other update, I'm probably going to be like, okay, guys, so the new Paralives update just came out, and this is what's been added. Which one thing that they did say, and I have two things to say. One, at the end of the announcement trailer, they said that they will never have paid DLCs, and it will only be free expansions. You will pay to purchase the game, of course, a one-time purchase, and then after that, there will be no paid DLCs, only free expansions. One, I have to say, I find that funny due to the fact that I feel like that is a direct jab at EA because honestly, since the conception of The Sims, they have locked big gameplay features behind paywalls with expansions. Even Sims 1, they did it with Sims 1, but you kind of get away with it because it was a dusty, crusty game where there wasn't really that much to do. It was just digital dollhouse with The Sims 1, and then it progressed a bit worse as the series went on, but it wasn't as bad until The Sims 4. The Sims 4 is when it really bogged down with the most simple of gameplay features being locked behind these $15 to $40 paywalls. And it's
Gemini,
getting ridiculous.
How much money did you put into Sims 4?
Well, if you look at you know what, let's do the math quick. Let me open it up on Steam.
No. I don't think anybody wants to.
You don't want to know because I own every bit of DLC except the Journey to Butthole and the kits that have come out, the like $5 kits.
Buy them right now. I dare you.
No, because I just get the base game conversions.
I double
anyway.
Get the DLC you don't have right now.
God!
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, total cost of all Sims 4 DLCs in 2023 comes out to around $995.
It's nearly $1,000.
Gemini.
Like I said, that's without the kits and Journey to Butthole, and I think mosquitoes.
Gemini, let me just put this into
mosquito
perspective.
stuff pack.
Let me put this into perspective. Imagine how good of a quality of drawing rig you could have bought with almost $1,000.
But Sims 4. But anyway, yeah, exactly.
Hey.
So I feel like that was kind of a jab at EA because yes, with The Sims 4, it has gotten bad with how much money you have to spend to get the full game. And the worst part of it is a lot of these gameplay features that they've been releasing are just reskinned animations that they're reusing, reskinned assets, rehashed ideas and everything. And it's getting kind of sad. Like their most newest expansion pack, For Rent, introduced was, they added apartments to the game and being a tenant, and you could be a landlord and everything. The game already had apartments and 2 other expansion packs. So, why did they make another expansion pack expanding on apartments when they could have just because they wanted to do pack refreshes to kind of fix their problems that they messed up, but they kind of dropped that idea as quickly as they came out with it. So I don't know why they didn't just put their time and money into redoing these packs rather than making a whole new one for an extra $50. I don't know. I honestly don't know what goes on there, but it's a mess. And so I do feel like that was a jab at them. However, some people, myself honestly included, have been a little concerned with the fact that if the game is not going to have any form of paid DLC, how are they going to continue funding the game? Because if they want to continue the expansion of this game and they want to do it for free, which honestly, more power to them. This is something that needs to come back with gaming. However, I understand that you have employees to pay. You have to pay your employees in the end. And I don't know if they have something up their sleeve for the future, or maybe not necessarily paid DLCs, but maybe kind of like how The Sims is doing with kits, where they're just tiny little things where you could pay maybe $5 to add some things that don't really impact your game, a couple little decoration items or a few clothing items that isn't impactful whether or not you have it in your game. That could be an idea. I know some people would be a little upset, but it's not like they're locking away important features.
I think it also comes down to as well that they're going about this, at least from an outside looking in, they're going about this the same way as they are as Larian Studios do the Baldur's Gate, is that they're continuing to work on this game until it is complete to the full extent. Unlike Sims, where all these expansions were just building on an unfinished game.
Yeah, and that is something that they also did stress when they released the early access date, is it will come out on early access in 2025, but be aware it will be unfinished, there will be bugs, and there will be missing content. So that is another thing I have respected the Paralives team for. They have been very translucent. And what I mean by that is they're not hiding things and being opaque like EA is, but they're not being 100% transparent in the sense where kind of Life by You. They're 100% transparent, which is fine, but at the same time, they're showing everyone how the game currently is. And a lot of people are oh, the game looks kind of unfinished and weird. And so people are getting a little harsh about them over it. They're being translucent in the sense where they're showing what they feel comfortable releasing, that they are confident is at the very least mostly done, or is either mostly done, or what they feel is getting to the point where it might be tweaked a little bit. There might still be some changes, but they're confident in the direction they're going, but they're not laying all of their cards out on the table, because in the end, they do want people to be excited about this. And one thing, they also are listening to their fan base. When I watch a video that if someone who's talking about Paralives, they're always the top comment, and they're 100% taking in these criticisms, constructive criticism, ideas, and everything that their fans and patrons are voicing. And that's really nice to see. And I'm really liking how they're having this translucent approach where they're allowing us to see a few things, but they're still keeping things kind of hidden away, because again, they either don't want to kind of blow their load and have everything kind of blow up in their face. But if they keep everything locked away, then people are going to get antsy and irritated and making empty promises. And honestly, I'm probably maybe I am holding this game up too high, and it could be a stinker. I'm really hoping it's not, but just from what I have seen with the 7-minute gameplay trailer, it honestly looks like it's in a wonderful direction. One thing that I really thought was interesting is in Sims games and other life simulation games, I think Life by You is doing it too, with their needs panel, it's little bars that you have to keep an eye on to make sure it doesn't go down. With this, they're little notifications that pop up in the corner that your pair is hey, I want to do this. Hey, little stinky, and I should probably get a shower and everything. I kind of like that because it feels like they're more alive in a sense. I don't know. I'm just getting overhyped about little game with little pixel people, because I just like controlling little stories to my manners, and I just think it's neat.
I mean, I feel like this is 5 game sims that you've been able to have these wonderful dialects about, and I feel like at some point you're gonna be overwhelmed. You're just gonna be which one do I talk about? Which one takes
there's
priority?
There's only two
Now
the main two that I've been, this honestly, the Paralives is the one that I have been gunning for. This is the one that has been on my radar and has never left. This is the one that I have like honed in on, and every time I see any little piece of like information, I like zoom in on it and I'm like, yes, give me more. This is the one, like when you go to my Steam wish list, this is plastered at the top. I'm waiting. When I saw that 2025, I was just like, yes, we're getting somewhere.
The trembling in your voice when you said waiting.
Because I have been, you don't understand, I have been like on the edge of my seat, like gnawing my nails down to nubs about
You don't
this
understand, man.
It's something that I enjoy. Like, yes, I am excited for Life by You. One, because it is a life simulation game. It's by Paradox, and it's being made by Rod Humble, who was someone who worked on The Sims 2, one of the best iterations of The Sims. Yes, I'm excited about that. But with this one, I have so much joy and hope for it because, like, it's from a small team, and they are trying to tackle the impossible, which is topple the crown off of EA's head. And that is something they need, because that's the reason why they've gotten lazy, why they know they can get away with this, because no one has been able to step up to an attempt to take the mantle from them. No one has ever done that until now. And this is something that they need, because if not, they're going to continue to get lazy. They're going to continue to shit on their customer base, and they're just not going to care. They're getting to the point where people are considering filing class action lawsuits against EA for pumping out unfinished pieces of dog shit. I don't think anything's gone into motion yet, but I'm pretty sure they are near the line of class action lawsuits with how badly EA has been shitting out The Sims. And it's terrible because it is one of, it's like over 24 years old. This game has been around for 2 decades, and they are getting so bad with it. It's pathetic. It really is. And this is something that EA needs. They need someone to compete against with. Because if you notice, a lot of games that are relatively good have competition. Fighting games, they all compete with each other. There's Street Fighter, there's Mortal Kombat, there's Tekken. They all have to compete against each other. Zombie games, they're kind of like an overbloated thing right now, but they still have to compete with each other. Shooters are always competing with each other. Even though Call of Duty is one of the biggest ones, they still have to compete and everything. Life simulation games, it's just been The Sims. They've had no actual true competition until now, and I don't think they've realized it yet, because they see Life by You and they're like, nah, it's by Paradox, but they're not really known for life sims, so it's whatever. And then they see Paralives and they're like, they're a tiny indie game, they're probably not going to get too far. But that's where these big companies up. They don't think that these indie games are going to sneak out under the rug and rip the rug out from their feet, but a lot of times they do, and that's what I'm excited about, to see this small indie game topple the giant, kind of like a David and Goliath thing.
You're very hopeful there, and I hope you have tempered expectations, especially with the situation going on with Pal World and Pokemon, but that will be for another week.
Different thing though, in a sense. In my opinion, that's different. That is, I should probably say this when we do talk about it, but I've played, like, I think not that much of it, and I didn't really like it. That I kind of do feel is not a ripoff, but just like it's reaching too close to the sun. Does that make sense?
I will say on some designs I will give it to you, but I will always go back to the adage of YMS's Kimba the White Lion video, where it's The Simpsons did it from South Park. Like, at a certain point, when you have so much of a certain media, whether that be 1,000 Pokemon or 1,000 episodes of The Simpsons or 1,000 episodes of wrestling, like at a certain point, you basically tell as many stories in as many different permutations as you can that are possible. Like, obviously, in hindsight, Pal World maybe should have adjusted some of the designs and made sure that they were completely dissimilar to any Pokemon, but, some things are going to fall through the cracks. Some people are going to make some stretches that they're able to, and I'm sure next week, when we actually talk about this, when we have a full-fledged conversation, we'll be able to... Well, the thing I'm thinking about is, like, next week I'm working, so I want to get all that I have out in, like, a little short form piece after you guys talk about it as a collective. So I just want to say that I am glad that Pal World has been able to have the success it's had, but I don't doubt that their designs will cause some issue, and I'm assuming that they'll have to change some of their designs accordingly. But as a whole, I don't think Nintendo has a leg to stand on to take the game down from a conceptual level, but from a design level, I will give that leg in it.
I was gonna say, from a conception, no, yeah. But Nintendo has has nothing like, they have no like backing in that sense. Design, yes. And that's why, yeah, with Life by You, with Paralives, they're not doing anything unique in the sense of a life simulation. No, of course not. That is not unique in the slightest. Hell, technically, even with The Sims, that's not unique because in the end, when it first came out, it was just digital dollhouse. That's literally what The Sims 1
like
was.
Barbie.
So, yeah, that's literally what it was. So in a sense, even that isn't original. It was original in a sense because it was one of the first ones on the computer, yes. But conceptually, no, it is not original. However, the fact that they are taking this and then adding their own unique ideas and how the game works is what I'm really excited for. Because like I said, with personality bits, how less is more, you have a few points where you put into, I think they boiled it down to the pairs would have, with the personality points at the very least, is I think it was physique, mind, creativity, and charisma. And each one of those kind of coincides with the specific skills that they would learn. And then they break it down even more in a sense, but it's still simple to your vibe, which is kind of like how you are, whether you're an anxious person, whether you're a bubbly person, whether you're more of a gloomy person. And then secondary to that is your social perk, whether you're a social butterfly, you're a loner, you know, are better with romantic relationships, are you better at taking care of people and everything. And I like how they've broken it down in that sense, rather than just like plopping personality traits, as in with The Sims 3 and 4, that do very specific things, and there's so many of them. It's more simple, and I just, like I said, less is more, and I'm liking the direction that the Paralives team is going, and I have very high hopes. Am I like, is it to the point of like holding them on a pedestal? Maybe to a sense, but that's just my enthusiasm for it. I know a lot of people are comparing them to The Sims, and I do feel that is really unfair due to the fact of how long The Sims has been around and how powerful it is. I do feel it is very unfair to compare them in a sense, and I just more see them as competition, because again, that's what it needs. That's what the life simulation genre really needs, is another competitor. And
I mean, competition is always great if you're looking at it from a movie standpoint, with the DCU trying to make their claim, or wrestling with AEW coming in and TNA finally reclaiming their former glory. And it's like, competition is always good across the board. The last thing anybody needs in any industry is a monopoly.
Exactly. And that's the downfall of EA currently, or I guess Maxis, but they're owned by EA, so it's whatever. They're the same thing at this point. That's just the downfall that they've had. And that's why they've gotten so lazy. And it's depressing seeing that, because again, I'd say The Sims is probably my all-time favorite game series. It's always a game series that I will always go back to for just when I'm bored, when I just need to decompress after a very bad day, when I am in the mood to tell a story, but I don't really feel like doing anything else creatively. It's always the creative outlet that I will always default to, and it's like a comfort. It's like a comfort to me.
Plus, you spend $1,000 on it, so you need to make your money out of it.
That too, but that's besides the point. I'm just talking about, like, even with the past games, like, it's always something that I defaulted to as like a comforting creative outlet. And while it's nice that it has gotten so big and so like it's gotten so popular and everything, they kind of let that popularity go to their head in a sense, where they're like, we are untouchable, we can do whatever the we want, and no one's going to say anything about it because we're the only option they have. But not anymore, and I'm excited about that. That's honestly the main thing I'm excited for, is the fact that they're eventually going to realize they are not the only option anymore, and that's what I'm waiting for. When that hits them, it might take a while, but it will eventually hit them that they are not the only option on the market. And that's all I have to say about Paralives, aside from the fact, keep an eye out. If you have the spare funds, if it looks like something that interests you and you have the funds to support them, I definitely would. I don't, but that's because I'm a broke ass bitch in America. If I could, I would definitely subscribe to their Patreon. But I don't have the spare money to do that now. I feel so bad about that, but it's hard out here for a bitch. So that's all I have to say about Paralives, though. Do you have any closing remarks, Snorbert?
Well, somebody has awoken and seems he overslept. So we'll hear from Subset next week. But as for me, that's everything I wanted to talk about, and I just wanted to go through my usual spiel as I do. Thank everybody for listening across the YouTube and CJSW networks. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to, check out any other podcasts that they have on CJSW. And thank you to my wonderful friend friends, Blaze
Anytime.
and Gemini.
A pleasure as always.
And we'll see both of you and the other two, and hopefully we'll all be together for that. Probably not, I'll be working, but you guys will be together. And then we can finally talk about Power World. I'm immediately going to regret saying this. Who knows what'll happen with scheduling, but hopefully we will eventually, at some point, talk about Power World.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Anyways, have a great rest of the day, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Farewell.
Bye.
Bye.
Robbie, go back to the editor's room.
Bye. Damn it, we lost out on all that free content.
I got a recording.
Okay, good. Now that we've started, I guess we might as well just jump into it because, you know, like, there's nothing else for us to talk about except for all the stories that we can't talk about because of the fact that we're only a three-man team today. We can't talk about live-action Avatar. We can't talk about Power World. It's a curse. It's a goddamn curse, I'll tell you.
Maybe you're the curse. Go back to the editor's room, goddammit.
That didn't change it. Wait, I was in the editor's room and nothing. It didn't change anything. But
All right, well, let's get started.
that's what I was doing anyways. Hello.